before the stopgap measure expires, by the way, this Friday. The sticking points, they involve billions of dollars in spending cuts. And if no agreement is reached, the lights are turned out on the government. They're turned off. And the not open for business sign, that's hung outside. So what is each party willing to do to avert a shutdown? Joining us now, Republican Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee and Democratic Congressman Paul Tonko from New York. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Our pleasure. My pleasure.
So I'll get straight to it off the very top. I want to know what both of your parties are willing to do to compromise to avoid this shutdown. And I'll begin with you, Congresswoman Blackburn.
Thank you, Heather. You know, we have sent our bill over to the Senate, and I think the question of the week is, what will Harry do? Is he going to decide to shut the government down, or is he going to work with us? You know, we gave them a $61 billion spending reduction for this period of time. We sent over another 2-week reduction with $4 billion, another 3-week reduction with $6 billion. The point is this: the Democrats want to continue this spending. They're not willing to make the cuts that are necessary to be responsible to the American people.
And Congressman Tonko, your reaction to that?
Well, basically, we're willing to work with the majority in the House and with the Speaker. And also, I think the responsibility rests with them to come up with a bill that they can present to the floor. We need to move forward. There seems to be a struggle within the majority ranks, the Republican ranks, where they're being pulled by the Tea Party element of the party, and are proposing a budget that is very difficult for our middle class to absorb. And what we're willing to do, and we're anxious to provide for a compromise, but we're unwilling to move forward in a way that threatens jobs. We have been impacted by 8.2 million jobs lost during the Bush recession. We want to continue to climb forward
Heather,
with the 1.8 million that we have realized over the last year.
So I did ask you again.
We've put our bills out.
Congressman
Tonko, that are there.
Hold on. Congressman Tonko, I would ask you one more time. Then what are you willing to do to compromise?
I think a budget expresses the priorities that are important, that meet the needs of this nation. And when we see all the cuts being made, the way they approach the budget here is to do cuts to domestic programs only, and that will bear heavily on the middle class. And they have borne a lot of damage with this recession.
Heather, let me provide a little bit of information about what a CR is. Yes, I think the congressman doesn't understand what a continuing resolution is. What we're looking at is $2.6 trillion worth of spending. We've said let's cut $61 billion out of this spending. Spending is out of control. Washington does not have a revenue problem. It has a spending problem. The American people want this. They are adamant that we make spending reductions. We have done that. We have sent it to the Senate, not once, not twice, but 3 times. The Senate, Harry Reid, has refused to take action. The question of the week is, what will Harry do? We cannot continue this out-of-control spending. It is basically economic child abuse. It is capping our children's future and trading it to the countries like China that own our debt. The American people have said enough is enough, and we want the Senate Democrats to take this up and take action. That's what we're looking for this week.
Congressman Tonko, just to move it a little bit further, if we do, and I would ask your opinion, do you think that we are going to come to another agreement, or how great is the chance for a shutdown and no resolution to this? And if we don't do that, what party is going to be blamed by the voters?
Well, look, I don't need to get into a blame game. I think what we need is progress here. When my colleague talks about child abuse, yes, they're slashing programs in the classroom. They're cutting classroom dollars. They're dulling our competitive edge by reducing R&D, research and development, in the energy area, while China and Brazil and Germany are all investing heavily. So, you know, every think tank has looked at this proposal and said it would be job killing. And what we would lose is some 700,000 jobs.
That is incorrect.
So she
the think tanks have not done that. When you talk to economists around this country, they say if you want to incentivize job creation, then what you need to do
both of you are speaking over each other right now, and we can't hear either one of your points.
Certainty and get rid of some of these burdensome taxation policies. That is what we're going to do as we focus on the 2012 budget. The goal this week is to pass a continuing resolution and to get this spending finished for the rest of this year and get it done with cuts that are responsible to the American people that sent us to Washington to get the fiscal house in order and restore fiscal sanity.
And Congressman Tonko, I give you the last word.
Heather, to my earlier statement, a continuing resolution is a statement of priorities for this nation, and they have put the deep pockets, the wealthy interests of this nation, big banks, big oil, millionaires and billionaires, willing to give them tax cuts at the expense of domestic program cuts that will impact on the middle class. It will just devastate our middle class. It will reduce jobs by 700,000. It's not the way to go. The onus is on them to come up with a reasonable plan.
What the American people want to do is to see tax reductions. They don't like what they're getting coming forward.
Thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you, Heather.
If you speak over each other on Capitol Hill, no wonder there's not an agreement yet. But thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So